Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I talk about all the new comic books coming out on either August 2nd or 3rd, 2022. And I asked myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? Although I'm going to do things a little bit differently this week, I'm going to do another one of my just number one books video. I don't really have much of a pick this week, although I kind of also do have a pick. I'm cheating a lot this week. Let's address it all as we get to it. Let's start off by talking about my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was Star Wars issue number 25. And the question remains, was it a worthy and worthwhile pick to be my just one book pick of the week? And the answer is no, not really. It wasn't bad. In fact, it was quite good. I enjoyed it. It was 4 short stories written by Charles Soule, and they all took place in different eras of the Star Wars movie history, basically. That kind of narrow-ish segment of the Star Wars history. And it was good. I liked it. It's not easy to tell a story that I would care about at all in 4 or 5 or 6 pages, and he did a good job at that. So I really enjoyed the comic book. I'm really glad I picked it up, and I would recommend it to people. But was it standout enough to be like a just one book pick of the week? Not really. So the short answer of yes or no, was it a worthy and worthwhile book to be my just one book pick of the week, falls just slightly into the no category. The book that would have been my just one book pick in hindsight is 8 Billion Genies issue number 3. Now, not only because it is a very good story that I am enjoying, but people this 2 weeks ago went crazy. I don't quite understand people's logic. Issue number 1 came out, and some people read it and some people didn't. I read it, I liked it, most people didn't care. Then they announced option news the week that issue number 2 came out, and everybody went after issue number 1, but they really didn't pay any attention to issue number 2. Then, when issue number 3 came out, everybody jumped on that like it was the hottest thing since sliced bread. I was sold out everywhere I went. My shop didn't have it. They didn't order it. They haven't been pulling it for me. That's a side note of distress for myself. So I had to run around town trying to find this book just so I could read it, and it was either sold out everywhere or marked up to $15, and I didn't want to pay $15 for a new book the day after it came out. And also, on the secondary market, all of a sudden issue number 2 was popping up, equal to what issue number 1 was going for. And I was like, issue number 2 has been out for a month. Why are people just now getting around to caring about issue number 2? Fortunately, I found issue number 3 at a shop. I bought 4 copies of it. I sold 1 on eBay to cover the cost of the 4 copies I had bought. They had a bunch of issue number 2 on the shelf. I should have bought every single copy they had on the shelf. I did not fully realize how much people would be going after issue number 2 and 3. I still don't understand why. It's not first appearances. Anyways, I'm talking about this a lot because it's blowing my mind. All I know, 8 Billion Genies is good, it's entertaining, and the secondary market is acting in a way that I find very confusing and unpredictable when it comes to this title. And so that's noteworthy in and of itself as far as I'm concerned. Let's move on to the rest of this video. Now what I'm going to do is I have 6 honorable mentions this week that are all issue number 1s, new titles that I want to bring to your attention. But I also have 5 books that I will be buying this week, and 2 of them would have been my just one book pick if I had made one this week. This week I am pulling Twig, issue number 4. I'm really enjoying Twig. It's a fun adventure that I'm very interested in seeing how it plays out. So I really like this book and I recommend it for everybody. I'm also pulling Stillwater, issue number 14. I've liked this series from the beginning. In fact, I just tried it out for fun when issue number 1 came out, and boy, it's just a story that I just want to see how it plays out. And that's thanks to Chip Zdarsky. He does a really, really great job with this title. But then he also does a really, really good job with Batman, and Batman 126 is also a book that I will be pulling this week. He's only written 2 issues so far, but 125 was really, really good. I liked it a lot, and I'm really excited about where Chip Zdarsky is going to be taking Batman, and that includes what's going to be happening here in issue number 126. 126 would be one of the 2 considering books that I would consider as a just one book pick this week. It should be the first full appearance of Failsafe. And Failsafe seems like a character that might give Batman a run for his money. So I definitely recommend issue number 125, but also issue number 126 coming out this week if you're not already on board with Batman. So we had 2 great titles from Chip Zdarsky. We have 2 great titles from my man, James Tynion IV, the first of which is DC versus Vampires, issue number 8 of the 12-issue limited series. I like James Tynion IV a lot. I've been very impressed with DC versus Vampires, more than I thought I would have. And so I'm absolutely going to play this one out all the way through to issue number 12. And then the final book that I'm pulling this week, which would have been my other potential just one book pick for this week, is The Closet, issue number 3. This is the 3rd and final issue of The Closet. I've already read these through James Tynion IV Substack. It's such a good story. I like it so much. Some people might not like it as much as me. They might be like, this is lame. I'm not really into it. It got to me in a way that comic books seldom get to me. I loved it so much. I hope that you're reading The Closet, and I hope that you're picking up issue number 3 this week, because it's really, really great. But let's get into the 6 books. Wow, this is going to be a long video. That are my just number 1 books picks of the week. The first one is Dead Lucky, issue number 1 from Image Comics. Here's the description. Series premiere. San Francisco is changing. Tech consortium Morrow is building the city of the future with peacekeeper robots looming on every corner. And wherever Morrow isn't, the Salvation Gang is. Bibiana Lopez Yang is changing too. She came back from Afghanistan with PTSD and the ability to control electrical currents. If she can hold it together, she might be the hero San Francisco needs. But against an enemy this big, it isn't enough to be good. She'll have to be lucky. See them tying in the title. From debut writer Melissa Flores and superstar art team French Carlo Magno and Mattia Iancono comes the newest book in the massive verse. All right, this sounds interesting. It sounds like a cool new concept, and it's a brand new character. So if you're looking for a book that you can spec on this week with a brand new character, The Dead Lucky might be a book for you to check out. The next book I'm going to mention to you is Golden Rage, issue number 1 of a 5-issue limited series from Image Comics. Get ready for this one. Here's the description. Mini-series premiere. In a world where older women who've been deemed useless to society are abandoned on an island, Golden Rage documents their golden years of making friends, baking dessert, and fighting to the death. Created by writer Chrissy Williams, artist Lauren Knight, and colorist Sophie Dodgson, this is the first issue of a brand new 5-issue miniseries where Battle Royale meets the Golden Girls. This is crazy. This is about a world in which they put old women on an island together and they fight each other to the death. Okay, that story's never been told before, ever, and probably will never get told again, ever. So if that type of story interests you, and because of it's just simply its bonkers nature, it kind of appeals to me, this might be your one chance to read it, this type of story. So, like I said, if it appeals to you, pick up Golden Rage, issue number 1, coming out this week. The next book I want to mention to you is Survival Street, issue number 1 of a 4-issue limited series from Dark Horse Comics. Here's the description. Survival Street is an unrepentant action satire tearing through a dystopia packed with economic and humanistic cautionary tales. After an unbridled wave of corporations take over America, the country is left completely deregulated and effectively carved up into feudal states where billionaires and businesses make their own laws. Among the wreckage, mass privatization shuts down public broadcasting, forcing all the beloved edutainers out on the down and dirty streets. One group of them stick together, determined to keep helping kids across the country, and do it by becoming an A-Team-esque band of mercenaries fighting for and educating kids in the crumbling corporate war zone of New Best America. James Asmus is the lead writer and 5-time Harvey Award nominee, currently writing Rick and Morty, Corporate Assets, Transformers, My Little Pony crossover miniseries, and more. Okay. Did you ever wonder what it would be like in a dystopian future where the characters from Sesame Street are fighting and educating their way through the country? Well, wonder no more, because now you're getting this story here. Once again, this is one that is just so bonkers, it's either going to be horrible or it's going to be brilliant. So if anything about, Sesame Street characters fighting and educating interests you, check this one out this week. The next book I want to mention to you is Edge of Spider-Verse, issue number 1 of a 5-issue limited series from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. The end of the Spider-Verse is coming. Edge, noun. 1, outermost limit of an object. 2, the sharp side of a blade. The leading edge of the Spider-Verse brought you Spider-Gwen and Penny Parker. The final edge will introduce you to some of the most important characters in the future of the Spider-Verse, but will also slice the final strand of the web. In this issue, Spider-Man Noir, Aura A's New Status Quo, and Spider-Rex, and more. Okay, so I think Spider-Rex is a character that I haven't seen. This might be the first appearance of Spider-Rex, which, you know what? Part of the reason that I mentioned this book this week is, let's face facts. To me, the concept of the Spider-Verse is really pretty cool. The idea that you have these different incarnations of Spider-Man that have coming all together from throughout the multiverse is a cool thing. And they've been going to that well a lot, and they will continue to go to that well. So because I like just the concept, though, because I think it can provide really cool and fun storytelling, and because Spider-Man is awesome, I'm all for Edge of Spider-Verse stories, and so you might want to check out this one this week. The next book that I want to mention to you is a new book, as they all are. It is Sacrament, issue number 1 from AWA. Here's the description. The Exorcist meets Alien in this sci-fi/horror story. In the year 3000, mankind abandoned Earth and fled into outer space. Now, a disgraced priest called into action to perform an exorcism on a remote space colony is about to discover that no matter how far you run, you can't escape your demons, and the devil is, in fact, real. All right. I put this on the list this week. I almost didn't. It sounded a little bit, too much for me. But I was like, you know what? there's going to be one person out there that's going to be like, hold on, it takes place in space. There's a disgraced priest that goes to perform an exorcism in space and learns that the devil is real in space. Somebody out there is going to be like, that sounds awesome. Devils, space, aliens, I guess please give me that. And I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. So for you, for the one person out there that that is like, oh yes, that sounds amazing. This mention is for you. And finally, the last book that I will be talking about this week is The Vineyard, issue number 1 from Aftershock Comics. Here's the description. The Vineyard is a family-owned winery that sows and reaps by the blessing of the great god of wine and revelry, Dionysus. However, the Vines family's patron god requires complete devotion in the form of 4 sacrificial killings a year before each harvest. This has been done in unfettered obeisance. But all of that changed when the family's patriarch, Didache Vines, was in a horrible accident that left him paralyzed and in a wheelchair. Now, the sacrificial and murderous duties of the Vines family have fallen to wife and matriarch Maranatha Vines. With harvest season fast approaching and the family short of their annual sacrificial killings, Maranatha's struggle with her conscience puts all of her family, husband, son, and daughter, in jeopardy. Written by Brian Hawkins and illustrated by Sammy Cavella, The Vineyard is what happens when family values and otherworldly obligations collide. Okay, so I drink wine. I like wine. Would I kill 4 people a year for wine? No, I wouldn't. But this is a story about a family that owns a vineyard that has to kill 4 people a year in order to keep their vines growing and their business successful. I bet you that there are a lot of people out there that if they could have a successful business that makes them happy, like a successful business of their own that makes them happy, they would probably kill 4 people a year. So this is not actually as crazy of a story as it might sound on the surface, but it's pretty crazy. And this is a week for some really kind of out there stuff. And I, once again, am not mad about it. I like crazy out there stuff, and there is a plethora of it this week. So I have to think that one of these crazy titles is going to appeal to people this week. And maybe it's this one. This one sounds like it could be a pretty, I don't know, like there's something compelling about it there. The conflict of the matriarch of the family, who didn't usually have to handle these killings, now has to like put up or shut up kind of on this one. I like the internal conflict that she's going to have between doing something horrible and making sure that her family continues to be well provided for. So there's some cool story there, and it might be worth checking out this week. But once again, those are my 6 honorable mentions. They're all really pretty goofy, and goofy in a way I don't judge, in a way I support, in a way that gets thumbs up from me. So I had to mention them all to you, but none of them were like stand out enough to be my just one book pick for the week. That's why I don't have a pick. But there's a lot of great options to choose from this week, so go to the comic book store and pick something up and enjoy. Alright, that's everything in this video that I want to talk about today. Likes are appreciated by me. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Watch my Test Your Comic Book Grading Skills videos. I've got a lot of those that have come out. You guys are all watching my Just One Book videos, and thank you so much for that. But watch the other ones too. I'm really proud of those videos, so I might recommend you check them out. Alright, as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.